I mean, I'm surprised that y'all talked 2 weeks before. This, to me, I'm like, okay, there must have been some tension leading up to it. Like, y'all must have been on bad terms, something. One last question. If he were to call you up and say, yo, let's work it out, would you do it?
I don't want to talk to that nigga.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to that nigga, like, you know.
Yo, how is everyone, gang? Your friend is back with a fresh one, and currently we are exploring deep into some Louisiana hood affairs that will shock your spirit. Truly, you all recall when NBA YoungBoy released that track titled Boosie and the entire land of Louisiana went wild. Well, allow me to clarify it for you. This is not purely regarding a song. This concerns decades of tension, homicide counts, and two icons from the identical town who shifted from kin to rivals very fast. Look, when NBA YoungBoy mentioned Nessie within that song, he was not only listing names, he was reviving ancient scars that Boosie believed were gone forever. We are discussing a killing trial that nearly landed Boosie on lethal injection, a hood icon who had his skull blown apart, and how the blocks of Baton Rouge stayed split ever since. This is the stuff that alters everything, fam. To grasp how we arrived here, we must return to the start, for real. NBA YoungBoy and Boosie both hail from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but their bond is more tangled than folks assume. Look, Baton Rouge is not that large, likely only has about 220,000 residents. So when you have two giants emerging from the same town, their roads will collide eventually. Boosie has been representing NBR since the early 2000s. This guy was already an icon when NBA YoungBoy was merely a kid wandering around the blocks. We are discussing Lil Boosie, who rose with CeeLo creating hits when NBA YoungBoy was likely still in grade school. But here is the reality about Baton Rouge. It is split. You have North Baton Rouge, South Baton Rouge, and various zones that do not always harmonize. Boosie is from the South region, particularly the bottom spot, while NBA YoungBoy is from the North. That regional gap might look tiny, but in hood affairs, that sort of thing carries weight. When NBA YoungBoy first began creating waves around 2015 or 2016, Boosie was already a proven icon. At first, there existed shared honor. Boosie identified skill when he witnessed it, and NBA YoungBoy understood to display honor to the veterans who opened the path. They were not feuding initially. In fact, they were very chill. Currently, here is where it turns wild. Gang, the initial splits in their bond were not even regarding any blunt rivalry. It concerned honor and rules. NBA YoungBoy was rising fast, likely quicker than anyone anticipated. His YouTube stats were insane. His hood status was firm, and big companies were beginning to notice. But with that victory came an ego, and certain folks believed like he was not displaying right honor to the icons who arrived before him. Boosie began feeling a certain way when NBA YoungBoy was not approving tracks or displaying that Louisiana care like he ought to. In one of his talks, Boosie clarified the event. I moved on that stuff and approved all that stuff for, you know, all the guys. You know, I worked with Freedom, you know. But you know, I don't know what this stuff occurred with Top, but I don't know what occurred.
YoungBoy first started, I jumped on they shit and cleared all they shit from them, you know. All they artists, you know, I fuck with Freedom, you know. But, you know, I don't know what the fuck happened with Top, bro. I don't know what happened.
What Boosie was discussing was how he used to clear tracks and assist other Louisiana creators get their tracks out. But regarding NBA YoungBoy, something shifted. Perhaps it was the company rules. Perhaps it was personal. But that shared care was not present anymore. That is when the indirect attacks began starting. Boosie felt insulted, and when you insult a Louisiana icon, there are going to be results. The blocks began picking teams. You were either Team Boosie or Team NBA YoungBoy, and that split has been breaking BR apart ever since. During the peak of their rivalry, Boosie was not holding back. He was making it clear that NBA YoungBoy was out of line and was not displaying right honor. Boosie believed like he had worked hard for Louisiana rap, unlocked doors for the younger group, and NBA YoungBoy was behaving ungrateful. The rivalry grew when they began making blunt mentions to one another in tracks. NBA YoungBoy would release lines that folks took as attacks at Boosie, and Boosie would reply with his own hints. The viewers were loving it, but the blocks were getting split. Boosie was basically stating that NBA YoungBoy had to understand his rank and display honor to the veterans who opened the path. He believed like the young guy was acting careless and had to be corrected. But here's what startled everyone. These two actually ended their rivalry for a second. We are discussing a famous telephone talk that had Kevin Gates, Frito Bang Boosie, and NBA YoungBoy all on a shared line. This was not just some normal talk. This was Louisiana royalty uniting to kill the drama. Boosie discussed it in his talk with real emotion. Oh, they confused my mind. Man, I mean, you know I was moving on that YB. Gates appeared on that stuff. Me and Frito appeared on that stuff. This telephone talk occurred right after Boosie accepted his deal for his federal trial, and he was struggling heavy. Relative issues, court matters, the weight of likely entering prison, the entire thing. That talk signified everything to him throughout one of the dimmest moments of his life. He stated, I required that telephone talk. And you know, once stuff starts working, and you know, I have never been the kind to, well, I will not lie, but you know, he gave me some stuff. We moved for a quick moment. It seemed like Louisiana was about to be united once more. Boosie was discussing creating a full project with NBA YoungBoy. The viewers were thrilled, the blocks were glad, and it looked like the rivalry was finished and gone. Gates likely played a major part in making that talk happen. He has always been the mediator in Louisiana, trying to hold the family as one. Frito Bang? Also, he is Boosie's cousin, so he had reason to see the rivalry cease. Currently, here is some true news that folks do not discuss enough. Boosie's kid Tootie Ra is one of NBA YoungBoy's biggest supporters. No lie, this young guy is playing NBA YoungBoy, tracks heavy, and that likely played a role in Boosie wanting to finish the rivalry. Picture being Boosie and your own kid coming to you like, "Father, why are you fighting with my favorite artist?" That type of thing feels unique when it is family involved. Tootie Ra likely has been in his father's ear regarding ending that rivalry, and Boosie being the great dad he is, he complied. Tootie Ra represents the fresh group of Louisiana viewers who do not wish to see their icons fighting. These young guys just want great tracks in peace. Having his own kid, be a NBA YoungBoy supporter, likely made Boosie see that the rivalry was larger than purely him and NBA YoungBoy. It was hurting the entire world. Let me be honest with you all. Boosie understands not to truly start war with NBA YoungBoy. And it is not about being afraid. It is about being wise. See, NBA YoungBoy has a unique kind of spirit. This young guy really is about that life, and the blocks recognize it. NBA YoungBoy's name in the blocks is unique. We are discussing someone who truly has seen it. Gunfights, jail, folks around him being murdered. His tracks show that truth, and the blocks honor that genuineness. When NBA YoungBoy mentions harm in his tracks, it is not purely for fun. It is his life. Boosie has seen enough court drama to understand that fighting with someone who really is about that kind of life is not worth it. He just won a killing trial, outlived federal counts, and created a real empire. Why would he gamble all that for some rap feud? Also, NBA YoungBoy is younger, hungrier, and has less to sacrifice. Boosie has kids, shops, and a brand to guard. Occasionally, the wisest act is to step back, and that is exactly what Boosie has done. The age gap also has a role. Boosie in his 40s currently with depth and outlook. NBA YoungBoy yet in his early 20s with that young wild spirit. Boosie likely sees himself in NBA YoungBoy and does not wish to see the young guy ruin his path over some petty feud. But do not be confused. Boosie is no coward. He just understands when to choose his fights. And starting war with NBA YoungBoy is not a fight worth having, mainly when they are from the same town and ought to be growing together. Just when each thing looked fine, NBA YoungBoy dropped a shock that nobody ever expected. He released a track titled Nussie, and when I say the blocks went wild, I signify they went wild. Now, for those who are unaware, Nussie was a hood icon from Baton Rouge who was murdered back in 2009. But here's the catch. Boosie was accused of directing that hit. You're talking about a killing trial that nearly sent Boosie to death row, and NBA YoungBoy just casually released a track with that guy's name as the title. The timing of this track was fishy as hell. Only weeks following that peace treaty telephone talk, NBA YoungBoy goes and releases a track that is certain to anger Boosie. Either NBA YoungBoy did not consider it, or he was purposefully trying to create drama. Chris Nussie Jackson, known as Nussie, or Mr. Badazz, was one of the most feared and honored guys in Baton Rouge throughout the 2000s. This was not just some minor hood guy. This was a real hood icon. Nussie was from Easy Town originally, but he repped South Baton Rouge heavy. He was making huge cash on the blocks, had his own gang, and was even attempting to move into rap music. The guy held his own spot, Club 225, and was truly having that boss life. In one of his final talks, Nussie discussed his name. "I am just a hood guy attempting to prove you I can rap. You know, the blocks truly grew for me. They really back me. I performed everything truly like the old school way." But Nussie had a name for being mean. He was not just a dealer, he was known for taking from other dealers, even folks near him. There are tales about him taking his own father's plug, grabbing bricks, and fading like a ghost in the dark. Nussie also had feuds with many folks in Baton Rouge, including some linked to Boosie's group. There was drama over blocks, cash, and honor. All the usual hood affairs that cause harm. February 9th, 2009, everything shifted. Nussie was shot down at his place on America Street in Baton Rouge. The killing was mean. Several bullet hits to the skull, hitman style. The blocks instantly began talking, and Boosie's name appeared as the guy who ordered the hit. The feds made their trial around a young shooter named Michael Louding, better known as Marlo Mike. This young guy was reportedly Boosie's muscle, and they stated he performed many killings on Boosie's orders, including Nussie. The state argued Boosie put a $30,000 price on Nussie's skull because of ongoing hood tension. They showed a view of Boosie as a leader who utilized young shooters to kill his rivals. The trial was so heavy that Boosie was looking at the death row. Marlo Mike first helped with the feds and was set to speak against Boosie. He even had a mark on his belly that read Boosie with who's next below it. The state believed they had a certain win, but here is where it turns wild. Marlo Mike eventually took back his words. During the trial, he took the stand and stated he lied regarding Boosie directing the hits. The trial broke down and Boosie won the killing counts. However, the harm was done. The blocks understood the vibe, and Noosey's name stayed forever linked to Boosie's court drama. Even though Boosie was cleared, folks still muttered about what truly occurred that night. The link between Boosie and Noosey's killing arrived through Marlo Mike's words. Per the state, Boosie was leading a gang group and utilizing young shooters to kill his rivals. They stated Nussy was aimed because of ongoing hood tension and regional fights. The feds asserted they had phone logs, witness words, and other clues linking Boosie to the killing. They showed him as the brain behind many deaths, including Nussy's hit. But when it arrived, time for court, their main witness, Marlo Mike, altered his tale. He stated he lied to the feds to obtain a better path and that Boosie had zero link to the deaths. Without his words, the state's trial broke. Still, the harm to Boosie's name was done. Even though he was found not guilty, folks still linked him with Noosey's end. That is why NBA YoungBoy creating a track titled Nussy was such a huge deal. It brought back all those pained thoughts. Boosie's reply, pain and betrayal. When Boosie learned about the Nussy track, you could say he was angry. In his talk, he made it firm how he felt regarding folks mentioning the lost. If I feud with you when you were breathing, it is you while you died. You were afraid of this. That is why you left away is not going to make me insult the dead on here. But Boosie also showed control. He could have gone crazy on NBA YoungBoy, could have released a huge insult song, but instead he stayed high. When asked if he would take NBA YoungBoy's talk, Boosie stated, I do not want to talk to that name. I do not want to talk to him, but I do. You know he is fine. I do not hurt my friend. You know you do not perform that, too. You do not do that. I do not allow that. You do not perform that stuff like, it pained my heart. You could sense the grief in Boosie's tone. This was not just about rap drama, this was personal. NBA YoungBoy had broke a rule by mentioning Noosey and Boosie felt tricked because they had just created peace. The pain was true because Boosie really thought they had ended everything. He was set to work with NBA YoungBoy, set to make Louisiana one, and then NBA YoungBoy went and revealed the saddest scar possible. The Noosey track altered everything between these two Louisiana icons. All that talk regarding creating tracks as one, over all that peace in Baton Rouge, gone. NBA YoungBoy had revealed old scars that Boosie believed were closed and there was no turning back. This entire event proves you how messy hood affairs can be, mostly when you deal with icons from the same town. Boosie and NBA YoungBoy ought to be working as one, making Louisiana great and showing the globe what BR truly represents. Instead, they stuck in old tension and pained hearts. But here is the real news. This rivalry likely is not finished. NBA YoungBoy is young and does not look to care about results. Boosie is an icon who is not going to let anyone insult him, even if he is trying to stay high. Something tells me we will see more parts in this tale before it is all done and finished. At the close of the day, both these guys are Louisiana royalty, and the land is big enough for both of them. But pride, soul, and hood affairs have them at each other's necks, when they ought to be honoring each other's victory. You all tell me in the remarks what you all believe regarding this entire event. Was NBA YoungBoy bad for creating that Nussy song? Ought Boosie to have replied differently? And do you all believe these two will ever be chill again? Post your views down, and ensure you all sign up for more true hood affairs analysis. Your friend will stay giving you all the truth regardless of how hard it becomes. Peace.